Okay, we should be live. Hopefully. Let's see. It looks like we're live. Cool. Give me one quick second. There's one last thing I need to set up before the stream starts. Hello, Skepsis. Where do I need to go? I need to go to my plugin generator. Let me just grab that out for you guys so you guys can see that. Show that off a little bit. It's still the old one, but nonetheless. Okay, we're just gonna grab a simple one. Where is it? Where's my better script? Okay. Okay, grab that, compile cart. Doesn't really need to care about the name, so we'll just do test. And we just need that. That's just so I have a template. Okay. Yes, we're making a plugin. I have the code tested and everything. Really? Did it not download? Did my virus scanner go like, hey, this is a virus? Prevent. No, it didn't. Okay. My virus scanner just was like, hey, I'm going to tell you about this potential virus. Actually, That was weird. Okay. Either way, yes, we're gonna make a plugin tonight. So I actually made some changes to the base file. So one thing is I changed the crisis color. I made it a little bit darker. I'll show you how, why, and all that. And I changed a bunch of things in how the sprite for the sprite gauges look. And because I did that, I want to make a proper plugin. Why do I make a proper plugin? It already works. There's no point in doing it. Because if I ever update the core file, or if RPG Maker has any issues and I need to reset my core files, all these changes will get wiped. Which is bad, because all these changes do what I really like. So let's show off some fonts real quick. Once this loads up, as it loads up, I'm gonna actually bring that down. There we go. So, some nice new fonts. As it does that, I'm gonna turn off some things and everything, and boom, there we go. And then I need a fire new window. There we go. Cool. And I will get the directory later. So, some nice new fonts. I think these are really crisp. Me and my girlfriend went through like 10 of them and decided which ones we liked the best. I like how it looks. It looks clean. It's not very pixelated. It's not very crowded. I think it's very readable. So, let's exit through here. Now, what's the font that I changed? Why did I need to do all this? Okay. So, entering into the battle, I changed how the font in the battle is. First, I made this like white box with black text. I like how it looks. I think it looks very crisp. It gives me good feels. But with where it was originally, it didn't look all that right. And even here, I need to adjust it so that the gauge goes all the way across and all that stuff, but that's stuff we can play around with tonight. The things I like about this is not only do we get to do the attack, but look at it. I love this animation. I love, like, it looks kind of like what it reminds me is the Olympic scorecards, which I really like. The only thing I think which would be nice is if I could get these to bounce when they change, but we can look into that in the future. That's the new color I chose for Critical. I think it gives a nice appearance without making it unreadable what's behind it. So, yeah. that's what we're going to do tonight. I'm just going to make a quick plugin and show you guys how to do it. This isn't going to be how I make plugins for my plugin generator. It's just going to be here's a quick way. If you have idea, you modify the core scripts, got it working how you want, but it's not, you don't want the risk of your core scripts getting overwritten. That's how you're going to do it. And it looks nice in the menus as well. And again, I might look into adjusting the things. So let's jump into this. Okay? First things first. Let's dump that over there. Dump that over there. For now. Okay, let's open up the file. Okay. So 1/2, actually, put that there. And put that there. There we go. And there we go. So that you guys can see everything I'm doing. Okay, so first things first is go into your JS, go into your plugins, and you should see some default plugins. I only have mine in here. We're going to grab my other plugin just as a template, and we're going to move it over here. Done. We don't have to open up that anymore. We can actually go in here and open up whatever text editor of your choice. Mine is Notepad++. Give me a quick second so I can make sure split screen isn't going to do anything too bad, reveal too much information. Yeah, okay. So, the reason why I wanted the template is just so that I can get some of this stuff done. Title, what do we want to call this? I generally put a grouping, so SOR with a capital L at the end is my grouping. It just helps me organize plugins. If you're going to do a bunch of plugins or plan to release your plugins, highly recommend it. Just makes organization a lot easier. So we're going to call this Legacy Code Changes. Okay, so what I'm basically going to do is make this a general plugin for all the little code changes that aren't going to go into an actual plugin for my game. What's today's date? I actually downloaded this today, so it generated the date correctly. We don't have a URL. I'm going to keep mine as is. So, file name doesn't matter here. You can call it whatever you want. I'm just going to keep it at Legacy Code Changes, okay? But in reality, you can call it whatever you want. Actually, did it have JS at the end? No. Because all this is doing is reading into the engine. It doesn't actually care if it's the matching file name. We don't need, actually no, we do need plugin description. So this is the 2-line of text when you go into your, why am I describing it? I can show you. That is not it. There we go. So when you go here, you get the plugin description, and when you go here, you see this. That's what plugin description is. This plugin contains the small changes made for legacy game. And that's just going to be that. We don't have any commands for right now because all we're going to do is change some files. We're going to do an @n params help. That's just to... So n params is not actual RPG Maker code. It's just how the code gets parsed. So if, let's say we had plugin commands and like this we have default empty. If you did not do default, it would actually start including your help and other things. So I just do an @n plugin params, and for whatever reason that just solves all my problems there. So nice little pro tip there. Okay, help, we don't actually need any of this help because it's not relevant to us. Done, and we're done. So that's all you need for the top of your plugin. All this is just doing is describing what to show up in the RPG Maker engine. The plugin commands, plugin parameters, all that are specialty things. This plugin doesn't need it. If you're just making modifications to the core files like we are doing today, you don't need to make the plugin parameters, plugin commands. So this is just a little bit of code that I've taken from previous plugin developers and stuff and incorporated in mine. Basically what it says is, hey, check to see there's this imported object, include my thing in it, and it allows you to do like checks to verify, hey, is this plugin installed? There's other ways to do it, but I know a lot of plugin developers who use this way, so if you're playing compatibility, this is a small little bit of code you can add into it. I like abbreviating my code, so we're going to do LCC for legacy code changes. So, variable, sort L, this. All this is so that I can have my own special space that in theory other plugin developers won't have, and I can protect my variables and function names and stuff like that. So I use SOR capital S, capital L. MP core, we actually aren't going to touch the MP core, we're going to touch LLC. And if you have any questions, not LLC, LCC. And if you have any questions, just ask. I'm kind of going over it a little quick because this is just setting up stuff. We don't need any of that. We do need a plugin name. Well, actually we don't need one because we're not dealing with, what's the term? We are not dealing with the core engine, so like the plugin manager and all that we aren't using, so we don't need a plugin name. But it's nice to have, nice to define, so you don't have to define it over and over again. So this term does have to match whatever you call the file. In my case, it's called SOR L_mp test.js. If you don't, your plugins aren't going to connect in the engine. For our case, it doesn't matter because we're not actually using the engine any bit. We're just coding up the core files. But I'm going to call it LLC just for not for compatibility, for uniformity with all my other plugins so that I know, SOR LLC goes to LLC .js. This is a bit of code I wrote for mine. Basically, take the plugin parameters you have for this specific plugin and load them up into something. I call mine PP for plugin parameters, and it allows you to quickly find plugin parameters faster than having to remember, oh, I have to go into the plugin manager, look up plugin parameters, look up it for the specific plugin name, simplify it. It takes up a little bit more space in the system, but you have it. You don't have to worry about looking for it. We don't need to worry about this. We don't need to worry about savable PP. That's something specific for my plugin generator. And we don't need to worry about the plugin manager because we're not using plugin commands. Done. Okay. So now that we've done all of that, let's scroll this over. There we go. Zoom this out so you guys can see it. There we go. So it's actually pretty simple. Once you get the commands you've changed, you kind of just copy paste them. So, well, we actually just copy paste right here. Why can I do this? Why is this a good thing? That's a good question. So in this specific case, the only way you could overwrite this function because of how it's returning is to actually copy paste. Generally, you'll actually want to do something along the lines of my crisis color. There we go, equals color manager, crisis color, and then do then you can call this, and then you do something along the lines of, let me think, it's like my crisis color dot call this, I think, is the general function. And this would call the default one. And the reason why you do this is so that you can have compatibility with other people's plugins. So if another plugin changes its color and mine comes after it, it will actually go grab that change, call that, then it will do the modification, then it will call that change, then add my modification to it. Or it could do my modification first, then call the function. But because of how RPG Maker is coded up, for this specific function, there's not much you can do, because you're going to return. And the best you could do is a like, or my color crisis, something like that. What this dot call. What this would do is basically go, oh, my color crisis, call this, see which one is, and you can write logic to manage that. It all depends on your compatibility. This is going to be built into my game, so compatibility be gone. It's all going to work with my code and my code only. Okay. So that's everything we needed for RPG Maker MZ Manager. It's going to overwrite the return text color 17 and return text color 20. I'll show you how I got that number after this. The next part is rewriting the other portion. The great thing is, or the MZ sprite file. The great thing is we don't actually have to create a new plugin. We just add to our existing plugin. Turn off inclusion. And we can grab this one. Again, this one would be a hard one to make compatible because of the return, but there are ways to do it. I'm not going to go in depth unless you guys have a question or concern on that. So, this is just taking the gauge and increasing it to the bitmap sprite. That's how I got the gauge to fit the same size as the font. This function I stole off the internet. I'm being completely honest. Basically, I wanted to include an alpha. That's how I tinted the font so it's see-through a little. And to do that, I needed to include it as an RGB. Because that's how RPG Maker takes it, is it takes it as an RGB. However, it takes it as a, let me get this correct. RPG Maker wants an RBG, okay? And I am best at defining things in hexes, right? Actually, I think this is inverse. No. It takes a hex. Give me a second, make sure. It takes a hex code, which I know, and it takes an alpha and produces an RBGA. Okay, that's it. So yeah, RPG Maker by default likes RBGA. I personally like hex. I understand hex codes better. And I wanted an alpha. So I needed to make an RBGA function that takes in a hex code and converts it to an RBGA. That's it. And then with that, we can grab this function, which is what actually uses that. Here, I have, actually no, RPG Maker uses hex codes, and I needed a alpha. So the best way I know how to get alpha is RBGA. There we go. So color manager, color, HP color, this battler, that's going to be a hex code, this piece right here. Going to be a hex code, and I wanted an alpha, so I wanted the alpha to be 75%. So boom, this will give me the RBGA, which will allow me to tint without messing up how the color manager works. Okay, scroll a little bit further down, and we made some modifications here. Let's see lines up here. There we go. Made this modification. So right here I edited the X off, which basically offsets the value of the gauge by a certain X. What I defined it as is X, gauge X, which is basically how big the text, if I remember right, it's how far the text actually is oval. So if you have like a long, let me show you. So right here you have HP. Gauge X is where the gauge starts. That's why these texts are aligned to the left, or starts at the left. Then to align it to the left, I had to define left, which that was easy. That was right. I put left, and that was it. That was everything for that one. And then this one, basically here I had to define what the font size was, and I wanted the font size to be the same size as the height of the gauge. With all that sets up everything I wanted. We save this. I'll have to change the name, but that's that. We're going to discard these because I have them defined. But that's a risk. I'm going to take that risk. Generally, you'd want to make a copy of what your changes are so that anything that you didn't properly change would work. But we're going to take a risk. Discard. Don't need. What discarding's doing is undoing all my changes to that file. Discard this change as well. So now the only file it can lead from is my plugin file. So now we just need to pour the plugin file in. This is actually called LCC. Go here. Grab your LCC, and as you see it came in, hit apply, hit OK, and see if your core files removing your core files, reverting them, discarding them, didn't break your engine. If it didn't, then congratulations, you just made your first plugin. If it did, you're going to have to debug a little. In my case, it should work perfectly fine. So yep, it looks like it worked perfectly fine. The text is aligned right. Let's grab some party members real quick. Exit the building. Let's make this full screen. Ah, dang it. Another one of my plugins does not like me making full screen on certain screens. That's a personal issue I need a fix. It's one of my plugins. I have a compatibility note on it. It's an annoyance. I'm planning to fix it. I eventually will. Just give me time, guys. Give me time. Okay. So if we go into battle, we should see the font aligned right. Yep. And we should see like an orange whenever somebody goes critical. And of course, he's going to attack the big people and not the small one. It's okay. We can get through this real quick. Okay, come on. Make somebody critical. Stop hitting the big guys. How are you guys doing today? Oh my gosh, he is literally milking the highest HP guy. I hope you guys are doing well. My day's been busy. I've been looking awesome. So critical is that orange, which is the color I wanted. Spending time learning FS Studio at the moment. Yeah, it looks nice. I'm not good at music creation. I only create music through code, and even then it was an assignment that I only passed because I had somebody who really understood music helping me verify my algorithms. Yeah, I like the orange. It's a nice, you can easily see, at least from my perspective, the difference between the lighter orange and the darker orange. And the 0 is, I like the 0 font. It clearly indicates that something's wrong with these guys. The thing I like the most is this card for the hits. That's my favorite part of this font so far. I think it makes the font a lot clearer on when you hit someone. So, and that's that. Our party member losing system is still working perfectly fine. So we made a plugin, guys. If you have any questions, definitely hit me up. But other than that, I think that's everything for the plugin. No, we don't need that anymore. Close that. Okay. So what else? What else can we do? What else can we do? So we were going through classes last time, and that was fun. So I'm gonna continue doing that unless you guys have any questions. This class. When collecting composition, you may use the power to collect. Choose the player you're collecting from. We don't really have that mechanic, and I'm not going to code that up. Immortality. Whenever you lose, use this power to return. We kind of have that with, what's the thing? Reincarnate. And I don't think I want a fully immortal creature. The only way I could think of that is if you hit 0 health, it will give you 1 HP and revive you. But even then, that's I don't like that. I don't think we're gonna do that. I think that will break my game. Whenever you lose health, use this power to take along that number equal to the ship. So basically, if somebody attacks you, you hit them for equal amount of damage. Could that be done? Yes, I don't want to code that up. That doesn't sound like it's going to be a fun thing. This is RPG, so don't need that. Power to infect. Unless prevented by another game effect, you're able to, when it's your turn to ally, use this power to ally, sending 1. So basically a force ally. The closest thing I could think of is if we had some way for you to, like, kind of like the Mimic, where at the end of battle you change classes. Do the same thing, but keep your class, but change your type based on who you're attacking. Could be interesting. I don't think I'm going to code it up, though. Not going to do that. So this one allows you to change change your skills mid-battle. Could be interesting. It would just require us coding up a way to store skills from the class and then flipping back and forth between them. I'll let you guys decide on that one. I could see it easily being codable. So, divine intervention after No, we're not going to do that. We already have Fido for items. When you use an item, you get the item. So I think we're good on that one. So this one could be interesting. Basically, when you're attacking, you hit with your normal damage, but in this case you also add the current HP of your character. Which if you had a low HP character, that could be a nice damage dealer. So we'll code it up. I'm thinking once we get about 15 classes in ideas, we'll start actually coding up the classes and getting that functionality working. So the creature is called Macron in the game, and basically low HP, but current HP is added to total damage output. Which that could be fun. I could see having the benefit, having the choice of, do I heal my damage output or do I heal another character? I can code that up. It'd be a little bit of a difficulty. It'd adding a skill. It's more skill based, so no. Foresight would be a fun one to code up, but I'm not going to do that for this game so far. Basically being able to see what your enemies would attack with. This is more of a skill, less of a class in my game. When you win an encounter in which you revealed the attack, use the power to force the opponent to lose equal to the number of ships. So again, this is kind of the same one as Macron. The hit you make is added with the total number. So that's fine, we're not going to do that. Regeneration. Regeneration could be interesting. We could play around with that. The only issue with the regeneration is what's the downside. So I can't think of a downside just yet. So we're going to keep that out. We're not going to do that either. I kind of like this class. So pacifist, power to make peace. Basically, whenever you enter a battle, if you have a pacifist party member, it would actually open up a dialogue tree with the enemy. And what I'm thinking is it'd be like multiple choice, 3 multiple choice dialogue options. And you'd have one that's like complete peace, you win the battle, and you get the prizes. The other one might be, you don't win the battle, it's counted as an escape, or the enemy escapes from you, but you don't get hit either. And then the third one would be negotiation negotiation fails and you get into a battle. I think that would be cool. I think that is reasonably a class. I could see a species where they might not ever battle. They never built like muscle mass. It was all brain, intellectual, like negotiations. So I could see that. It could be fun. When a player regens, they could have a weakened soul effect that makes them take slightly more damage. Okay, I see what you're saying. It would require... How would I do that? So let's try that real quick. I like the idea. Let's try that. So what's the regeneration one called? I think it's literally just called regen. Mutate? Yeah, mutant. Okay. Mutate. So with a regen, the simplest way we could do a regen is just going to XP, HP regen, let's say 2%. However, you're saying at the same time, add a debuff to their defense at the same rate. Which that could be a little hard. Now we could code this up. How would we do that? In every battle we would have to code up a always running every action or every turn a regen. And every time it hits your turn, if you are that party member, you get a regen. But you also lose, maybe they lose the ability to take turns while regenerating? Well, if that's the case, then we start leaning towards more of regeneration being a skill, less than like a passive ability. But we could have it where you could regen, and we could make it where you have to regen at the start of every one of your turns. Then we could make the regen a skill, but we would still have to code every battle to have that regen capability, which isn't the end of the world. I was thinking about making a plugin that would allow you to do common event battle pages. So we could do that. So let's do that. What I'm thinking, okay, roll with me, regenerates all HP as long as their defense is greater than 0, or regenerates 5% HP at the cost of 1 defense every turn until fully healed, or defense is equals 0. So, what I'm thinking is, you aren't going to die by health. You're never going to die by health. But, you are going to die by your defense. So, if you have a lot of health, you're going to be fine. You'll be able to heal fully and keep your defense up. But over time, that is a nasty thing. We might actually make this a lot higher. Maybe 15% HP regen. Because you basically are going to regen unless your health is full or your defense is 0. And if your defense is 0, your health is going to get depleted amazingly fast. So for the first few, That's a nasty thing. I do not. I think if we're gonna do this, we might have to make this a really positive skill, like maybe 25%. Because if your defense is really much of anything, you're gonna really lose it very quickly. I mean, if we did 5% and you got hit to 1 HP, that's gonna be 20 defense you lose right there and then. So this is gonna be a fun one to balance. I like it. Thank you, Skepsis. I like the idea. Mutant is in. That is gonna be a tight balance. Okay, back to cards. I like the Pacifist. If we're gonna code up Mutant to have it where it runs every turn, let's do the Pacifist. It's literally just gonna be at the beginning of battle check. At the start, if in party, at the start of the encounter, of the battle, generates a quiz based on enemy, 3 questions. On enemy with 3 answers per question. So 3 answers per question. That's 9 by 9. So answers. Or actually, we'll do this. 1, 2, 3. Answers. This is gonna be fun. 1, 2, 3 questions. Okay. So what I'm thinking is, or actually no, it's the which one did you have more? So we want 2 answers per question. So you got question 1, question 2, question 3, and you got A and B. And basically, A is 50%, B is 50%. Next question, A is 50%, B is 50%. And then final question, A is 50%, B is 50%, right? Let's see. $25, $50, $75, $25, $50, $25. Actually, we could do it by 25. Could we do it by 33 then? 33. Yeah, we could do it by 33. So each question is worth 33%, and 3 questions. So if you have A, which is greater than 33%, yeah, if you have A that's greater than 33%, you get 1 option. If you have B, no, I don't like that. I want it to be 3 possibilities, maybe with 2 questions. So 2 questions, 3 possibilities. So that gives you a max of 66 or 2 33s. That's not good. Let's try 3 questions, 3 answers. Okay. So if all questions are 25%, you could answer each one at 25. That's not good. maybe 4 questions? 4 questions seem like a lot per battle. So that'd be 25, 25. So you could get up to 100% on 1. So all we need is 1 minus the number. So I guess that's what we do, is it'd have to be that. Right? Yeah. That makes sense. I don't like 4 questions, but I guess if you chose pacifist... Well, I guess if you choose the questions just right, we can make it nice. If we make the questions good. So, what I'm thinking is... answers A, B, and C. Answers. A would be your pacifist. And where you can randomly generate this. The order, well, yeah, we could randomly generate the order, I think. I'm pretty sure, and we could. Wouldn't be too hard. So, A would be your pacifist. If answer is, well, highest answer wins. So pacifist would be, what did I say? Okay, pacifist, B, and then C. C would be aggression, which would make, there's a term for what I want. Well, actually, I could just give a speed boost to the enemy. Gives speed boost to enemy. And then middle of the line would be enemy escapes and you win nothing. So scared, enemy escapes, no reward. And then pass. How do I spell this? Pacifist. Enemy escapes. Actually, you escape, no reward. Enemy escapes. You win rewards, escape rewards, and battle rewards. So basically, you're trying to find, if you have a pacifist in your party, the goal is to figure out of the 4 questions, what's the most pacifist route of answering them. And if you can do that, you don't only win the battle and get battle rewards, but you also make the enemy escape and get escape rewards based on the enemy. With those 2 features, you get basically double the rewards for answering 4 questions. However, if you don't answer correctly, you get scared. We could actually make questions possibly equal number of enemies. And just go with the highest best. So if you are tied on 2, we check which one's the best. So aggression would be worst, pacifist would be best, scared would be in between. And we choose the highest. But the idea I have is the pacifist one would give you double the rewards, basically. Scared would protect your characters, not let them die. and aggression would most likely ruin you. So I like that. Good idea. Done. We only have 2 more left. Okay, theft. I'm not going to code up a thief. That's more of a skill, less of a passive ability. Just force yourself to win. Oh no, this isn't force yourself to win. This gives you rewards if you lost. For you to lose, that would require, let's see, apply, permadeath. So permadeath is if your member of your party is less than 0, remove that party member. This is it. This is how do we have that? Can you die out in the game? I know we made it where if all your party members age off, you die. I don't recall if you could actually lose a battle though. So let's modify the skill, make it be insta-death. Let's see what happens. Because I don't recall if you could actually die in a battle. I imagine you could, but I don't recall. Oopsie, you don't want to do that. Oopsie, that's not what I wanted to do. Nope. God. There we go. So I just died. No, you can't die in battle. Is that how I want it? Yeah, I think that's good. I don't think we want you to die in battle. I don't recall how I'm actually defining that, but I guess it's a common event. Oh no, I recall. We made it where you could lose. So we could have it where if you lose, you still can win the rewards. That could be interesting. But I don't see the downside to that. Because then I would just keep all my players at low health. And as long as all of them die out, I keep them alive. Yeah, I don't think we're going to do that. That influences my players to do what I don't think would be good things to do. We're not going to do that. Resorb. That's going to be hard. We're not going to do that. Loser. Loser could be an interesting death. How would it work? Can we get the last person who attacked you? I'm almost certain we can. Let's adjust this skill back down to 1,000. I'm almost certain I could ask an actor, hey, who's the last person to attack you? Okay, now if I do game party members 0, that gives me that actor, and then I believe there's like a x equals x dot last battle skill, last combat symbol, last menu, last target. No, there is no way to ask it who was the last person to hit you. Now I could do last target index, and that would give me the last person you targeted, kind of, sort of, which that could be interesting, where if this player does die in battle, have it where their last targeted enemy dies as well. I don't know about that. I don't know. I don't think we're going to do that. We're not going to do that one. Okay, so we got through all those. We got like 14 classes, enemies, type things. Whoopsies. Nope, that's not the one I wanted. Give me 1 second, guys. I accidentally closed out the engine. There we go. So, I think we got the classes working nice. We can code up some of the classes now. So, Mimic randomly chooses on initiation. So to randomly choose a class on the initiation, we're going to have to find out what the actor code is for class. So this would be game party actor. Actually, we wanted a X example. And then we wanted something with class. Class ID. Class ID is 1, which means mimic. So we can actually just bring that there. Resize that. Resize that. There we go. And if we go into here, common events, and oh no, it's not part of the common events. It's actually part of the actor itself. This is where it is. So right here we need to do, is it data actors brackets, actually no, it's brackets 0 1, and then this should have class ID. Yes. So we want to randomly generate the class ID based on the total number of classes available. So to get the total number of classes available, we need to do data classes dot length. Actually, no, we do need to do like a filter because not all classes are going to be defined. So let's quickly Google that up real quick. JavaScript filter object by key value. Filter array of, yeah, it's called an array of objects by a key value. So they have that, and they want the IDs to be 1, 4, and 5. And that's basically how we want it. So what is it? Data. Okay, let's copy this bit of code real quick. And we can play around with these class objects here. So copy both of those, done. Okay, so we are going to do something along the lines of data class and then dot filter function class. Oopsie. And then we want to only return class if class dot name. Actually, we want to see one of these. Yeah, if we want class dot name to be defined, is not equal to an empty string. So if class dot name is not equal to an empty string, then we want to have class, else pass it. Actually, we'll do return class, else nothing. You can pass. Is pass a keyword? No, pass is not a keyword. None. No. No. There you go. Class is not defined. Oh, because class is a special token. Okay. RPG class. There you go. So basically, if the class is unexpected token return. Evil. It's going to make us define a bunch of things. Okay. Has class equals false. Actually, no. Has class equals that. Dang it. Return. Well, actually, it's if I'm just coding up randomly here. If then return RPG maker class. This is the same functionality, but in theory, name of null. Okay, yep. That makes sense. Console. That makes sense. Okay, so the issue is that null case. So we can actually do RPG Maker class. And there we go. Dang it, I had it. RPG Maker class. And there we go. And these are the 13 classes that we actually have names for. Boom! So, we need to do a couple of things. First things first, generate this list, okay? Which, reality, we could actually generate it once at the start of the game and continuously use it. But for the time being, for safety reasons, I'm going to generate it every time. Because who knows? Maybe I'll make a class generator in the future that you can generate classes on the fly. But for right now, we're going to do that. We need to make potential classes equals, and I want to say there's a choice. Right? Is there a choice in JavaScript? JavaScript, choose random from array. Nope, there isn't. Yay! I think we did that before, and I was like, ah. Yeah. We did it right here. Yep. So we're going to actually do very similar things here. So we want it where we actually could do a couple of things. We could define the mimic trait externally to the class generation. All we would have to do is filter out the first choice, which is easy because we could just make that blank. So actually, let's do that. Let is mimic get defined by math.random int 1. Because that should give us do I have to define it by 2? It might be 2. There we go. Yes, it is -1. So, yep. So, there we go. And I'm going to need to make note of this. Is true or false. Okay. So, basically, we can now say, hey, are you a mimic? Yes or no. Then, we don't even need to do this filter, how we're filtering it and then parsing it down. We could actually do, actually no, we do still want to do that. But we can now do class, get the class length, get the random value from that, and we can do data, classes, brackets, 1, and .id. Equals class ID. So now we go, let's move this so that we can make notes of things. Okay. Because we have the size, we have the space, so why not? Images. Generate images. And this is generate class. And then there's that. And if we go back up here, we get class ID equals, so we want to do a new one. I really wish I could get tab to work in this thing. There we go. Class ID is going to be equal to class ID. There we go. And then is mimic is also going to be equal to that, and that's going to actually be one of our built-in ones. Of course, we're generating for the actor, so this should be fine. Actually, it would be meta. Is there any documentation that you know about on making plugins to check the note boxes we have in databases? Yes, I can show you that real quick. So, I was actually about to just do that, so let's quickly jump in, create a note tag. Actually, we have one for Mimic. So Mimic has a note tag, so if we go here, you can see note. So if you wanted, you could easily go, give me the database classes brackets 1 dot note. And that will give you the string version of that note tag, which may be what you want. If you are like me and don't like that, let me find one that has, do I have enemies, troops, states? No, okay. So let's quickly define in Mimic a proper note tag, so using the arrows. So we could do is Mimic, okay? Let's say that's the note tag. If you leave it like this, I'll show you. So we have apply, close that out, close this out. Okay, hit new game. If you leave it with just like the note tag by itself, you can do Boolean operations without string parsing, which is, I think, the best way of doing it. But I know many developers who may disagree, okay? Oopsie. I messed something up in my code. But continuing without me messing up things in my code, we're just not going to go that far into my code. Which is good. We don't need to. We just need to have the database loaded up. So if we do note again, you're going to get everything again, including the new note tag. However, if we instead went meta, you get this note tag as JSON, which means we could actually do meta brackets is mimic, whoopsie, and get a true answer. We don't have to parse it, find out if it's there or not. Now you might be like, well, what if I don't want true or false? What if I want like an actual answer? Well, you can do that too. You can do is mimic, and let's say a string of yes. Close this out again. Actually, no, don't launch. There you go. So now we do is mimic, and we get the answer yes. We actually get a double string of yes. You could just type it in without the quotes. So that's how you do it. It's actually rather simple. But again, it's really the choice of, do you want to string parse note tag, or do you want quick and easy answers? The reason why this is double quoted is because I put quotes in here. You don't have to put quotes. So that's that. Hopefully that answered your question to its completeness. If you have a specific way. Oh yeah, I was the exact same way when I found that out. I was like, what is this meta? How do I define it? I was like, wait, I can, note tags are that simple? Awesome. Because I always saw note tags as .note, and I hate string parsing. Regex can go away. I understand its value. It's nice for some things, but if you don't have to, why do it? And to me, I think the user typing in two caret brackets and then typing in plain English, more plain English, is a very simple thing to do. So that's that. Boom. One down. We were going in here. You're welcome. And it works the same for everything. The only thing I'm not 100% sure of, and I'm not 100% sure if it's like, I'm hoping it's not the way I think it is events. I'm hoping that you can actually parse note tags down to the page of an event, but I don't think you can, sadly. Which isn't the end of the world. You can make like a note tag for, hey, what is this note tag page? Stuff like that. Okay, so meta, we are going to want brackets. We're actually going to want to stringify this as well. So stringify the brackets. It's going to be, actually I don't recall. Yeah, it would be really nice if it worked down to the page. And with some of the development I'm working on with my 2.0 plugin generator, I might have a little trick we could do that might be able to get us down to the page for events. It requires a little work on the user, but in your code base, you could actually use the exact same thing you would do like normally for your meta. I just haven't gotten around to coding that. 2.0 is slowly killing my will to live. Not really, but it's been a nightmare, and I still have to code up the saving and loading of settings on the generator itself. But yeah, so we can do is mimic, which I don't think needs quotes. Did we need quotes? I'm gonna quickly watch my video back real quick. I need a higher. That's as high as it can go. Okay. Yep. Is mimic. Blah 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 blah. No, but we do need to do semicolon equals true. Okay. So go down here. This does need to have true. I think that's JavaScript for true. I'm not going to jump back to see that. I'll jump into Chrome to do this. What's true? What is true, Chrome? True. Yep, it's lowercase. Cool. So that, in theory, should add the isMimic trait. But we actually don't want that. We want to do... Oh, this is going to be where the tough part is. Can I do this? I'm sure I can. isMimic, question mark. If it's true, do this. Else, do that. I'm almost certain that's valid JavaScript right there. I'm almost certain that's valid JavaScript and won't hurt me at all. This should be false. Okay. And then class ID equals class ID. Yep. And then I think we just copy and paste this, right? There's no... Is there anything special with this one versus this one? Actor or party member 2, ID 6. Ah, gross. Can't just copy paste. Gross. Or we can copy paste the generating class code. That we can copy paste. And in theory, we can copy paste the other bit of code. We just couldn't copy paste it all at once. These little lines of code. Boom, boom, boom. Boom. Okay, so in theory that should generate all the counties, so that's good. Now in here, is there anything we do to right here? Yep, we're gonna have to copy and paste those as well. Okay, so that one there. And this is why you work in a playground before you start building the game. Because if I built the entire game out and was having to do this, it would take forever. Actually, I'd most likely write a script and do it with, do it actually affecting the data points. But that is pro automation. Okay, so we just need to get the generating class code. In reality, we could create a plugin to do a majority of this, and most likely I'll do that once I get it kind of structured how I want, so that I can just be like, call plugin. Actually, we could do that just now. Do we want to do that? Yes, yes we do. Let me show you how to write a plugin script call out. Jump back into our lovely code right here. So it's actually quite easy. We're going to make it a little bit harder because I'm going to just shove it in the LOC thing, but we kind of just do this, then we do, what do we want to call it? We'll call this gen images for actors equals a function. Actually, we're going to do a couple of things. We're going to have that. We're going to have an LOC. We're going to start making some permanent variables. So we're going to do LOC dot image names equals brackets test characters. There we go. Now we don't have to worry about defining that every time. So generate actors can be a function that doesn't take in anything. It might not return anything as well. It could return things. It should return the name and the index, which that's fine. We could actually, we're going to create an array for this. One's going to be the name, one's going to be the thing. So it's going to be return, give me an array. we're going to have to define this a little bit better. We're also going to break this array up just for ease of use, ease of figuring out what's all coded in. So there's that. There's that. So now that will give us the name. And then we do the exact same thing here for image index. Boom. And there we go. Now, instead of having to call every time we have to do this script, call generate images, here's all the parameters. All this can get replaced with, well, we're not going to replace it that quickly, but we can do this. Generate actors images and image. And what the image is going to be is the first index is going to be the name, and the second image is going to be the index, okay? And for simplicity state, we could actually do image name equals image bracket 0 and image index equals bracket 1. That's just so we don't have to code it up again. So now, if I need to add anything to this or change this code, I get proper coding functionality. And we also could do that with the generate class. And it could also be an array as well, because it can give us the isMimic and the class ID. So we do SORL so that we're in my space, LCC so that we're in this plugin specific space, generate class for actors equals a function, doesn't take in anything, and it generates us the class. It might actually want to take in the game actor, because we don't want to change isMimic every time. But we might be able to work around that. So first things first is a return of an array. The first thing is going to be math.randomInt. And this is actually going to be for isMimic. This should also be labeled nicely. Image name, image index. And then we want to generate this, so we can take this bit of code out. Boom. We could actually, now that we're doing it this way, call it outside the function and not have to call it every time. But again, I might have data class being generated on live time, so let's just make a note below if classes aren't being generated in real time should be outside variable, just in case we ever do that. So that's that. That gives us the potential classes, and then we do it as simple as this to get class ID. We return that in a nice little array, nice wrapped all nice and pretty, and we can just do class props equals SORL dot LCC dot generate class actors. There we go. isMimic equal to class props first index and class ID equals class props second index. There we go. So that's a lot cleaner, and it provides us the flexibility as if we needed to find anything different, we can. Nothing needs to change here because we're setting the same variables callouts, and that's why I did it that specific way. And that's that. Boom. Hit OK. Actually, we can highlight all this. Hit OK. Hit OK. All this can disappear. Boom. Hit OK. Hit OK. Boom. Hit OK. Hit OK. So that's doing that generation, and then inside our specific actor code, instead of having all of this complexity and figuring all that out, boom, and I think we already copied the is classic, yep. And then go to this one. I think we did the exact same thing already. Yep, it already has that, so we just need to highlight, copy, paste. And we could even take it one step further. I could write a wrapper that takes all these properties and connects them all together, but for right now, I think this is good enough. So now we should be able to get random classes. We are still not going to be random, but that's fine because we might not be random in the game originally anyways. Okay, so now everything should work. Oh yeah, I forgot to save it. Guys, remember to save your work. If you don't save it, not going to do anything. Okay, so I'm not anything special. I'm just a mimic that's a mimic. You, on the other hand, is a pacifist. But are you really a pacifist? That is the question. That actually brings up another point, is the mimics you won't know until they start mimicking. Which, that's tricky. That would suck. You think you got like the perfect class, you go into bed and it randomly generates a different one? Game party dot members bracket 1 dot class, I think it's underscore class ID 13. So you're actually a pacifist. Actually no, that doesn't tell us that. It's going to be meta. It should be in the meta if everything's working right. So you're not a pacifist, or you're not a mimic, you're a pacifist. How about you? Nope. Class ID 13. Ooh, that's not good. Oh no. Oh yeah. Class ID 2. There we go. We might want to make is mimic true always, just to see if it's working, if we don't get it. But look at these classes. They're changing. Also, we needed to make mimic empty. And what is 3? 2. A human? You don't look human, but okay. Actually, that's what we need to do next is... Okay, so none of those worked. There's a couple of things I want to do. So first things first is you don't look human. That's a bad thing. So we actually need to have classes define images. And mimics can have any image. So let's make a note of that. should define what the actor looks like, except mimics can look like anything. Yeah, I don't think we're gonna change the image of a mimic. That would be a little drawing, but I could see it being nice to have like a slime, but the slime looks like a human, so you're like, okay, this slime's a mimic. I know this slime. It's mimicry. Okay, what else did we want to do? We wanted to set mimic to always true. So that's actually quite easy. Instead of doing this, we just do 1. So now all of them should have mimic. Okay, let's launch this mission. You should have a mimic, you should have a mimic, and you should have a mimic. Human, Macron, and human. We also need to have it where the profile, so when I go to, nope, not options, statuses, and click here, the profile should kind of hint at what each one of these classes' capabilities are. But for now, nope. So class meta is not defining actor meta. That is problematic. Because we kind of need it where is mimic is being loaded up as a meta for the actor. And it's not. It should be. Oopsie. There is none. You're correct. That's not true. I disagree with that. Because if I go data, actors, that's weird. Oh, because we didn't put in the right one. It might be actually, that's what it is. It's not meta we're trying to get. We need to go to data actors meta. So it might actually be working. Because it's actually in the actor data class, not in the game actors class. Which I hate how it separates those two. I think it really should have game actors as a template, and then once you start your game, or data actors act as a template, but once you start your game, everyone else comes in. So really what we need to do is dot actor, or yeah, we'll just do this for now. X equals, and then x dot actor ID. And then this be data actors brackets actor ID. X becomes this. This becomes meta. There we go. Now we're getting meta. And if I was to do 1 Hey, look, is mimic is true. Yay! Okay, now just to make sure the random is working right again. And I'll make note to work on profile definition next. We're gonna get to the class, coding up classes eventually. We just have to get through all the other classes. Right now we're actually coding up the mimic. So, boom, boom, and boom. All these are right. Stats, Tripler, Fido, Fido, 2 Fidos, nice. Is mimic false? Is mimic true? Okay, so the second one is a mimic. So party member 2 is a mimic. So that's working. Cool. Everything is working. We can generate actors and have them fight for us with unique classes. The classes don't do anything really unique yet, but we can do it. So there's that. Awesome. Yay! I think we're going to end the stream here. We got mimics working. We got the first half of mimics working, the generate. Now we need to do it where at the end of every battle, if they're a mimic, they regenerate their class. Not the end of the world, because we should be able to do something along the lines of class. Yeah, class ID. And we just regen class ID between 0 and 1. Or we actually could just basically use this bit of code right here again to generate from 0 to 1. Which reminds me, before we end, we need to clear out this class. Boom. Placeholder class for mimic, but needs to remain empty so class actually doesn't get applied. Which we'll most likely use this class, like we kind of do right now, as your initial class, and the first party member you get will be yourself, and that will regenerate everything. So awesome, 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 awesome. We are getting there, guys. I hope you have a good night. We're gonna close up shop real quick. I'll show you how to make a merge request. So I'm not gonna we'll push the documents up. We added a bunch of classes, so that's what this is all showing. So yes, we want that. Apparently we changed the map a little. Oh yeah, we changed some of the event commands. So yeah, we want that. I have no clue why it changes the scroll X, scroll Y. I think this is actually for the engine itself when you're scrolling up and down on the map. This is just telling us we changed the system. Might be some actual changes in here. Added some fonts. Let's actually make sure we only pushes the fonts we actually added. So system 2, we want Titanium and impact label. So impact label, we don't want this one. Don't want that one. Don't want that one. Titanium, we want. I don't want any of the PNGs because all of these are placeholder PNGs. In reality, you shouldn't be uploading PNGs and large data files like that to Git. We did add my plugin, or my new plugin, so we need to add that. And I don't want the saves because the saves are not code related. So boom, part 6. Done. We hit commit to main. Watch it go. There we go. And there we go. Everything's committed up. We don't have to worry about like data loss anymore. We're good. So, I hope you have a good night. Bye bye.